Alright guys, I've got a deep dive video for you today. Finally, I'm doing one, and since summer's around the corner, we're doing Summer Zingers today. What does that mean, Summer Zingers? We've got fresh fragrances, zingy, spicy, effervescent, aromatic, invigorating, uplifting, citrus, spicy, aromatic, woody, fresh, invigorating fragrances. So I'm calling it Summer Zingers because these are very zingy, spicy. Most of them are, and some of the freshness of some of the citrus fragrances are also like that. We've got grapefruit and things like that here quite a bit. And so I've combined ginger, grapefruit, citruses, lemons, lime, you name it, all kinds of fragrances that are perfect for summer. So I've got 75 or 76 fragrances here, and we're gonna go through all of the fragrances. And again, it's a deep dive video. We are doing this in alphabetical order today. I'm not doing different categories, so it'll be starting from the A all the way to Z, if we have a Z, and all Summer Zinger style fragrances. Let me know if you happen to have a favorite style in this kind of a genre. Add a comment below. I should also say happy Memorial Day. This is Memorial Day weekend, and perfect time for me to do this video. So it's a long one. You can pause, break, come back, put it in a playlist that you have, and then keep coming back to finish the video. And as the show that I'm working on, Scentfest SF, comes closer, I should say, to the actual start date, I'll start getting back to normal with shooting more deep dive videos and longer format videos. So anyway, if you haven't gotten your tickets to Scentfest yet, please do. It's going to be a great show, I keep mentioning. We've got a lot of great things happening. There should be more than 100 brands, and you'll be able to smell more than 500 fragrances. Just think of all different little pop-up shops in this amazing venue, and you'll be able to go from one to the other and one to the other and sample and enjoy and eventually buy the fragrances that you're, smelling. It is a B2C show, business to consumers. So yeah, most of the people there will be selling the fragrances. Plus there's workshops. You can make your own fragrances, whether you do it in person, mixing and blending, or you can also do it algorithmically, more AI focused. And then I should say also the Osmotech is there bringing 25 amazing lost or forgotten or reformulated fragrances from history. You'll be able to smell a fragrance from the Egyptian times. So that is awesome. So anyway, go get your tickets to Scentfest SF, and let's get started with the list here. If the fragrances are available for purchase, I will tag them, and you can buy them directly from YouTube Shopping. And the way that works is on the left, on the bottom, there's a little button that shows up with a product. You click that, and then that pops open a whole list of all of the fragrances that are tagged. So that's how you do YouTube Shopping. And each of the retailer that I've tagged, there's multiple retailers. It's YouTube Shopping is more like a curated collection of discounters and retailers. And so whoever I could find the least expensive, I've tagged those products. So it opens up the window of all the products, and you can go through the list of different fragrances. So the first fragrance I'm talking about is Acqua Dell'Elba's Blue, and this is the Uomo edition. I'm sorry, this is not blue. What am I saying? This is Classica. I was originally going to feature blue, but I can't find my bottle right now, so we're going with Classica. Classica is a citrus aromatic focused fragrance, and it's super invigorating, very fresh, and very zingy, because there's some zing and spice in here, and that's kind of what I like. It also has the marine touches because the brand is from an island. It's the island of Elba in Italy, in Tuscany. And so this is one of their earlier creations. So it combines lots of citruses, aromatics, and spices, and that kind of easy breezy marine kind of a note in there to give you this really very cozy, summery experience. And the thing that makes that really zingy is the spices and aromatics in there. And the citruses are a little bit zingy as well, because citruses can be a little bit tart, astringent, but also sweet and effervescent. So that is Acqua Dell'Elba Classica Uomo. We're going to the house of Affinessence yesterday. What am I saying? I was going to say we're going to the house of Affinessence with Combava Cedrat, this one. And yesterday I actually featured this in a discounted fragrances video that was more summer themed. So this is Combava, which is Kaffir lime, plus Cedrat, which is lemon. So you've got the combination of these notes together. And I mentioned in the video yesterday, and I'm mentioning it here as well, this does remind me a little bit of Annick Goutal's Eau d'Adrienne. It reminds me a little bit of Acqua Viva by Profum Roma. So it's tart, it's a little sweet, it's aromatic, very zingy, and it's got that astringency that I like, but it's not super overdosed with the sourness. It's super fresh. Think of lemon drops, limoncello, lemon lozenges, and things like that. That's what it reminds me as far as the smell goes. But if you're looking for something lemony, for sure, try this one. This is Combava Cedrat from the house of Affinessence. And the deal with that fragrance and that brand, their fragrances are focused on top notes fragrances, heart notes fragrances, base notes fragrances. This is a top notes focused fragrance. And you can see notes de tête, it says right there, tête meaning top notes. So the citruses are top notes typically, if you didn't know. Most of the time they're top. Once in a while, I guess you'll see them in the heart, but I think they're mostly top notes. All right, let's move on to the house of Amouage with Search. Search is a bit more complex and it has more depth, but I really love the lemoniness of this one. And there's, when you smell it, you get the lemoniness and the citruses, but there's also resins. I feel like deep down, there's resins and some spices coming in. So it's this nice combo of amber resins in the base, but super duper fresh, spicy, and aromatic up top with the citruses. So it's more complex. It's not like a super duper freshy. And some of you guys don't want super duper freshy fragrances. So this would come in handy because you start off fresh, lemony, but eventually it becomes more, resinous, ambery along the way with spices and things like that. There's a little bit of smoke in there as well. So I think that's like a frankincense type note. And I think it's a fragrance that totally is fitting of Amouage. So that is Search from Amouage. And then we've got Annick Goutal's Eau d'Adrienne. I just spoke about the Affinessence, but this is a true classic dating back to the early 80s. And the fragrance I first wore in 1999 or 98, somewhere around there. That was the first time I wore that fragrance. It's a classic. It is citrusy, super duper lemony. There's citruses in addition to the lemony citruses that are there. There's also aromatics. There's a little bit of the woods like aromatic cypress. And I think in the end, in the base, there's also a little bit of additional woods and maybe some spices along the way as well. For me, it used to be one of my all-time favorite citruses. I think it's gotten a little bit weak nowadays because I remember the first time I bought it was super strong and super astringent. It was more like a lemon lozenge or a lemon drop. It's light now, it's fresh. That's the Eau de Parfum edition. It also comes in multiple types of bottles. This, I think, is the masculine bottle. I think there's also a feminine bottle that's more feminine, but it's a unisex offering. I think there's no gender behind this. This is super duper fresh and very lemony. So that's Eau d'Adrienne, an amazing classic from the house of Annick Goutal, which is now Goutal Paris, or simply it's just Goutal. Maybe it's just Goutal, but I think it says Goutal Paris. I think the brand just exchanged owners. I can't remember. Is it Interparfums that owns Goutal Paris now? I've forgotten. I did read something like that. I hope that the brand comes back. It's one of my early niche fragrance house discoveries. It was either Annick Goutal or Penhaligon's I started wearing in the late 90s. And so I do appreciate those brands as I was very used to wearing designers. I mean, that's what we wore, the stuff you found at places like Macy's and when I was growing up. But I think Goutal and Penhaligon's are definitely awesome historic houses. I believe Goutal is one of the early niche houses. L'Artisan, Diptyque maybe, L'Artisan, and then Goutal. Then we've got Maître Parfumé Gantier, We've got Nikolai. So these are some of the earlier brands. But for me, there's a special place in my heart for Annick Goutal because I wore so much of it. In fact, I even wore their lavender fragrance, which is discontinued. An amazing fragrance. Yeah, the brand has gone through a lot, for sure. The one more thing I should say about Annick Goutal, the daughter of Annick Goutal is now part of the brand Voyage Imaginaire. So if you like the fragrances of Annick Goutal, you should try Voyage Imaginaire because the perfumer, Isabelle Doyen, who did fragrances at Annick Goutal, with Camille Goutal, which is the daughter of Annick Goutal, they both work on fragrances for Voyage Imaginaire. I think they're co-owners of that brand now, which is also an all-natural house. All right, so we're going to the house of Atelier Cologne. I'm sorry, not Atelier Cologne. Atelier d'Azor's next. Atelier d'Azor. This is Blanc Polychrome. A great tart, astringent citrus fragrance, very zingy, spicy, with gold flakes that are sprayed on my strip. If you like green, zing, astringent, sour, tart citruses, and also gorgeous, creamy white flowers like citrus floral notes, Blanc Polychrome is definitely one for you to try. Super awesome, very invigorating. It does have those kind of touches of like signature eau de cologne style fragrances, but with a lot more depth. I really love that whole bitter greenness of the petitgrain note. This definitely has it. It's definitely here. You can smell it against all the juicy citruses and, of course, the citrus floral notes. Really invigorating, super zingy, and perfect and refreshing for summer. If you don't know this one, check it out. This is Blanc Polychrome. Really gorgeous scent. All right, off next to a classic. This is Azzaro's Chrome. So Azzaro's Chrome is definitely on the metallic, zingy side of fragrances. This version, the bottle I have now is probably from 3 years ago, maybe 4. I can definitely notice a difference from this to what I remember wearing in the mid to late 90s. When I was first wearing this fragrance, it was super duper cold and very metallic. It has gotten a bit softer, but still, you've got that zing. It's very aromatic, very citrusy, and it's ice cold. Who's a fan of Chrome by Azzaro? I think it's a bit like metallic fragrances used to be a bit challenging for me because they would like cut through my nose, like really piercing. It's gotten softer. I'm also getting tea now, and maybe there are tea notes in the fragrance. I can't recall, but I think it might have it. It almost smells like mate tea or something tea-like, but super metallic and sharp. But as I said, it's gotten softer than it used to be. But really great. I found a new, I found a new love for this because it's gotten softer, because it used to be a bit too strong with its sharp qualities. And I think it's perfectly fitting here of something super zingy in a bit more of a classic way. It's now 30 years old, I think. I think came out in 95 or 96. So it's definitely around 30 years old here. So that's Chrome by Azzaro. It is a male-targeted release. I made this list mostly unisex, but there will be a few male-targeted offerings here as well. Let's move on to the house of BDK with Citrus Riviera. So Citrus Riviera, it's just that, the French Riviera, or maybe just a Mediterranean Riviera in general, including the Italian Riviera and the other countries. But you do find a lot of citrus trees in the Mediterranean and on the Riviera, and I think they basically captured that setting perfectly. So it's super duper juicy, very, very effervescent, clean, a bit soapy, but also it's got that zing that I like some citruses create, and you've got that here. Not super duper overwhelmingly zingy, but there's a presence here for sure. But if you want a straightforward citrus, maybe there's some traces of flowers in here as well. That's the next fragrance that's more of the floral focused one. This one does have it a little bit, but this doesn't get as warm as the other one. But really great scent here, especially if you are a lover of citruses. And maybe aromatics, some light woods, maybe a little bit of musk thrown in. That's what you get with Citrus Riviera from BDK. So that's BDK Citrus Riviera, and now we've got Villa Neroli. And Villa Neroli, I think, is a little less zingy than Citrus Riviera. And I think it's because this does settle to a bit warmer experience in the dry down. It gets a little bit vanillic, but up top, you've got a lot of the zing and spice that I've been talking about in fragrances. You've got a lot of citruses up top, but this time you've got a lot of flowers. In fact, it's a nice balance of the flowers as well as the citruses themselves, the juiciness. But eventually it warms up. It acts a little bit like Love Don't Be Shy in the base, but this is not as warm as Love Don't Be Shy is. This does have some freshness, and it has a little bit of that zing up top, as I was saying. But it's so cozy, really super cozy. So that is Villa Neroli. Yum. Really yum. I love that. So that's from the house of BDK. Then we've got a fragrance from the house of Boadicea the Victorious, this Energizer. I hadn't heard about this. I was at ZGO one day, and I was going through the Boadicea fragrances, and I was like, whoa, that is so good. It's grapefruit, in your face, bitter, the peel, the juiciness, the zing, the spiciness. It's nothing like Tygar. It's an original grapefruit fragrance that I'm obsessed with. And it's the anti-Tygar, because most of the time people look at Tygar for grapefruit or think of grapefruit when they think of Tygar. But this, to me, you've got the oiliness of the peel of the grapefruit here. Like if you've ever squeezed grapefruit or peeled it to eat it, that oiliness kind of gets in your hands. So it's a combo of like a grease and also the citrus. It's a very distinct smell, and they've captured it in the fragrance as well. It's really, really great. I think it's one of the ultimate in grapefruit fragrances, but more realistic, like the real thing. And I'm just mentioning, you're squeezing grapefruit or peeling grapefruit, and that smell gets on your hands. And that's what it smells like here. It's perfect, I think. And again, I love Tygar. I personally don't think the Tygar is like authentic smelling. I love it. I love all of the inspired fragrances from it as well, like Vibrato or Kajal 3. Maybe there's a few others. But this, to me, is grapefruit, but it doesn't smell like Tygar or any of those others. But also it smells super duper authentic. Really, really great. Ultimate in grapefruit fragrances here. It's Energizer from the house of Boadicea the Victorious. If you haven't tried it, please do. It smells so realistic. And speaking of Tygar, we've got Bvlgari's Tygar here from Bvlgari. I think this is the fragrance that's... it was during the pandemic. This had come out like a few years prior, and I'd not owned any of those fragrances from Bvlgari. People kept pushing, you gotta try Tygar, you gotta try it. It's really good, really super sexy. What I like about it, what the Energizer doesn't have, this has that ambroxan in the base. And some of you don't like it. If you don't like that ambroxan, which I find super sexy here with the grapefruit, it's so awesome. But again, to me, this is about grapefruit, but I also feel like Bvlgari doesn't claim that there's ginger in it. This also has ginger. I think that's what's giving you super duper zing to the experience. So for me, grapefruit and ginger have a similar zing, but of course the grapefruit is a citrus, and it's got its own unique smell, and then ginger is a spice, and it's got its own unique smell. Both very fresh, but super zingy. And I feel like this Tygar does have that, but with an overdose of the ambroxan. And this is what creates a really awesome trail that I find super sexy. Again, it's so good. It's really, really great. That's why it's become very, very popular. And a lot of people have tried to make their own version of Tygar. But if you're comparing Energizer with Tygar, they're nothing alike to me. Absolutely nothing. Not at all. They're totally, completely unique takes on grapefruit. And for me, as much as I love Tygar, I find Energizer to be the more realistic grapefruit fragrance because I get the oil that gets on my hands when I'm squeezing or peeling grapefruit. And that's what makes it so authentic. But both are really, really great for me. All right, let's move on to the next fragrance. We're going to the house of Celine. It's Parade. Why do I have a little sticky something here? So the Celine boxes have those ribbons, and there's a little sticky thing that you have to flip over, and it attaches back to the box. That little sticky thing had gotten on my bottle. But I think Parade is also a really great fragrance created by a, luxury designer. I mean, it's a really awesome citrus fragrance, but it's not just the citruses, it's also the flowers here. And it smells super awesome, but also very luxurious, very, very sexy. And it smells expensive, like a very expensive citrus-focused fragrance. And in the back, with all the citruses and the aromatics, the green notes, the citrus flowers, the juiciness of the citruses, you do experience the signature Celine powdery DNA. It's back there, swimming, but it doesn't appear or show its face as much in this Parade as much as it does in some of the other fragrances that you can really notice it. But for me, that powderiness is lurking behind all that citruses I spoke about. The juiciness, the greenness, the floral touches. There's a little bit of powder there, which reminds me of the Celine collection of fragrances. So that's Celine's Parade. Really, really great scent. From Celine, one of the best for sure. I love that. Next, we're going to the house of Chanel. This is Paris Biarritz. I think Paris Biarritz is my favorite in the Les Eaux collection. I think that's what it's called. Followed by Deauville, I think. Paris Deauville. This is Paris Biarritz. What I like about this one, this takes me into the territory of something eau de cologne-esque, but going green, floral, fresh, juicy, citrusy, but with a bite, with a kick, with a zing for sure. It's good. Behind it all, you do have the Chanel DNA, but just like the Celine, it's covered up a lot. I pick it up less in Paris Biarritz than I do, well, I should say, I pick up less Chanel DNA in Paris Biarritz than I pick up Celine DNA in Parade. Does that make sense? But you still notice it. There's a slight aldehydic undertone, I should say, which I connect with a lot of Chanel fragrances. It kind of appears, but less in Chanel with the Chanel DNA, more in the Celine with the Celine DNA. But it's a great one. These are great. I mean, I almost put the Deauville. I love it, but I love this one more. So I'm going with Paris Biarritz from Chanel. A great scent. This, just an FYI, is also a eau de toilette. It's not an eau de parfum, this collection. And I think they stopped making fragrances from that collection. They launched it around 2018 or 2019. I can't remember. And I think they no longer are making fragrances for that collection. But there's some good ones there. And Paris Biarritz being my favorite. Now let's move on to the house of Clive Christian with Timeless. So this is Timeless. This is a really potent citrusy, zingy, spicy fragrance. And you've got aromatics in there, some spices, but it's very invigorating. It's super clean. It does lean a little bit masculine because it has a lot of aromatics to my nose. But in the end, it's very... I was going to use the word energizing, but I don't want to copy it from the word Energizer, the fragrance Energizer. But sometimes these very vibrant, citrusy fragrances do have a very energizing feeling. And I get that with this one quite a bit. It's quite luscious and very juicy. There's a slight tartness here, but it's not super duper tart. But it's very, very fresh and invigorating. I love that. It smells so good. Now, they make pure perfume concentration fragrances. So all of their fragrances are really long-lasting. And so if you like long-lasting citrus fragrances, definitely try this. And maybe maybe next weekend I'll do an updated Beast Mode Citrus Fragrances video. But in the meantime, Timeless is so good. Check it out if you don't know it. I recommend that one. All right, next going to the house of Commodity. I've got 2 Commodity fragrances back to back because I really love them. First of which is Moss Plus. So Moss is mossy and also very green citrusy. It's moss as a note, but personally the collection has more petitgrain as a note in comparison to moss, but it's a nice balance. Petitgrain is the bitter orange tree leaves, so it's very bitter, citrusy, and woody, earthy, but it's just a really distinct smell that I absolutely love, especially if you're like picking any, citruses or oranges off a tree. Just take the leaves sometime, break it in half, see the little oil squirt out of it. That oil is magic to me, and they've captured it here perfectly. It's very woody, very mossy, and also very, very green citrusy. It's definitely an awesome scent. And the Plus for me is the best in the bunch. It smells great. You've got the greenness, the citruses, that kind of foamy mossiness of the distinct mossy, characteristic here, but all together smelling super wonderful. And also quite potent here in the Plus version. I prefer the Plus version in this more than the others. So if you like it strong, check that out, especially if you like it green and mossy as well. Because the citruses of the petitgrain is really, really distinct and strong and nicely balanced with the mossiness. And I think there's some earthy notes in there as well. In addition to the moss, it's a really great scent if you haven't tried it. And it's smelling really, really awesome here today as I'm spraying it. But one more fragrance from Commodity. Commodity, one of my favorite fragrances from Commodity used to be Nectar. They discontinued it. And they made it, I think, a boutique exclusive, which comes in a bottle like this now. But for me, Nectar is the ultimate in zingy citruses. So a lot of like pomelo or grapefruity notes in here, and that's what gives me that experience, that zing. But there's also a lot of flowers here, a lot of citrus floral notes, and I think there's freesia. And you can really, really feel and smell the freesia note in this. It's just so good. Really, really great. And I'm glad they brought it back, but maybe there was not an audience for it. I don't know, but it's such a great scent. It's a Matthew Nardin creation. Really like this guy's creations. He does great work for the brand Miller Harris and some other brands that I know, but he does great work, and he did such a great job on this. I guess there was not that much of an audience, but to me, this always reminded me of an amped up take on Joe Malone's Orange Blossom, because it hints at it, but the Orange Blossom from Joe Malone is an eau de toilette. I'm sorry, it's an eau de cologne. It's so light. This, on the other hand, I think is an eau de parfum. It could be, doesn't really say. I thought it was, originally I thought it was eau de toilette, but maybe they made it into eau de parfum, but I don't think this package says. But either way, it's longer lasting than Orange Blossom, plus it has more depth. It just smells super fantastic, super zingy, and it's definitely a great recommendation for you guys if you haven't tried Commodity's Nectar. I really love the name as well. One of my favorite Commodities. Commodity has done some strange things. I don't know why they discontinued some of my favorites, like Tonka. They discontinued, I think, Oris. A lot of great fragrances are gone, and they started the Scent Space collection, which, I don't know, has it really caught on? I mean, I know now they have the influencer fragrance, Milk Orchid or whatever, but I'm not sure I care for that fragrance. I didn't really care for Juice. I felt like it was not juicy. It was a dry, fruity fragrance. And when you call a fragrance juice, you got to make it juicy. And it felt more like juice jam rather than like drippy juice. So I think my favorite is Milk. That's my favorite, the original Milk. Tonka was amazing. It's gone. Oris gone. But anyway, hopefully they'll bring it back into their archive collection. So let's move on to DS and Durga with Grapefruit Generation. Yeah, this is a zingy spicy video. So we've got a lot of grapefruit here. Grapefruit, ginger, a lot of, effervescent kind of citruses. This to me, I had dismissed it for a long time, and I was at Ministry of Scent, and I smelled it there. I'm like, damn, that's good. I bought it there, and I paid full retail. It's at the discounters, and it's like, a lot of DS and Durga is discounted. But to me, it smells like a grapefruit soda, which I like the idea of, and I don't mind, wearing it because it takes me back to my childhood, drinking all these flavored soda drinks, how you're obsessed with all that sweet, citrusy things, and that's what this reminds me of. But it's very citrusy, it's super juicy. Also, there's an underlying thickness about it that kind of transports me to something a bit more woody, or experiencing something a bit more woody. But for me, there's definitely a grapefruit soda kind of an experience here with this one, which makes it much more fun. But you'll definitely get the zing from the grapefruit. It's there. Not as bitter, but definitely have a zing from the bitterness that grapefruits have. So that's Grapefruit Generation from the house of DS and Durga. Now we've got another classic fragrance here. This is Christian Dior's Eau Sauvage. You've got to have this on this list. I decided I wanted to put some classics, and the classics obviously turned out to be more men or male-centric classics. But for me, this is one of the ultimate in classic men's citrus aromatic fragrances, and it's super duper refreshing. It's clean. It's like juicy citruses, earthy woods, and lots of aromatics and some spices thrown in as well. I never get tired of this fragrance. It reminds me of, not my dad. I don't think he wore Eau Sauvage. I can't remember if he did. But it just takes me back. Like, when I was going to art school, I house sat a house, and in the bathroom there was a bottle of Eau Sauvage. I think that's what it reminds me of. And that was my first time I experienced it and fell in love with it then, and I've been a fan since then. But yeah, it's dating back to the 60s and still a classic and very gentlemanly, but super zingy, spicy, fresh fragrance for the guys. That's Eau Sauvage from the house of Dior, Christian Dior. We're going to the house of Diptyque next. It's Oyedo. Who's a fan of this one? It's been a while since I've dug into Diptyque's fragrances. I think tastes change, tastes evolve. I used to promote Diptyque fragrances quite a bit. I think I've stopped for a good 2-3 years. As soon as excuse me, as soon as Benjoin Bohème changed, it got discontinued, then moved into that other collection. I kind of stopped around that time. And also, they launched those flat bottle collection fragrances. And there were a few I really liked in there, but I didn't really love the collection. And since then, I haven't really been excited about it. But Oyedo is a nice, tangy, tart, zingy, grapefruit-focused fragrance. Perfectly fresh, a little fun and playful. There's a slight fruitiness in there. Not so bitter, but there's definitely bitterness there as well. But I feel like it's great for summer. It's an eau de toilette, just like the Eau Sauvage. So it's not very long-lasting, but really a great smelling grapefruit-focused fragrance. A perfect summer zing, I think. It's a summer zinger, I should say. Really, really great smell. I love grapefruit in fragrances. What do you guys think? Do you like grapefruit or ginger more? Add a comment below. And again, going back to Scentfest SF, guys, I haven't seen any brands that are exhibiting at Scentfest SF. Well, BDK will be there. Atelier Cologne will be there. So we do have a few brands that I've mentioned here that'll be at Scentfest SF. Boadicea, the Victorious, will be at Scentfest SF. So you get to discover their fragrances and when you come out. And as I go through, I'll let you know more brands that will be participating. But yeah, get your tickets if you haven't yet. It's going to be an awesome show. As I was saying, you're going to be able to discover over 500 fragrances from all the brands that are coming. And the thing is, we're stopping registrations for exhibitors very soon. And it's like people are coming last minute to book. Like, where have you been all this time? I know we launched the show very late, and we didn't want to miss out on the WPC that's in Monterey, the World Perfumery Congress, which their dates are the 23rd, 24th, and 25th of June. Our dates are, Scentfest SF dates are June 26, 27, 28, plus the Business of Beauty Business of Beauty Global Forum is happening in Napa on the 24th, 25, and 26th. So that's the reason. But we launched our show so late, and I know I mean the accomplishment we have with all the exhibitors is amazing for a first year show. But like, we're gonna close registrations for exhibitors very soon, and a lot of brands are coming forward and coming out of the woodworks wanting to book. So by the time it actually launches, we probably will have over 600 fragrances you'll be able to smell at the show. So get your tickets right away, get your registrations done, get a 3-day pass, and come out here in San Francisco. It'll be a great time. So let's go to the House of Eccentric Molecules next. I've got 2 fragrances back to back. We've got ginger. So it's Molecule 1 plus ginger. If you guys don't know Eccentric Molecules, so Eccentric Molecules has a series of molecule and eccentric fragrances. So the molecule fragrance is always one molecule. The eccentric fragrance is that molecule from the molecule fragrance with other fragrances. Other notes. So you have Molecule 1, ISOE Super, Molecule 2, Ambroxan, Molecule 3, Vetiviral Acetate, Molecule 4, Javanol, Molecule 5, Cashmere Wood, or Cashmeran, I can't remember, one of those two. They're both the same. And then the brand decided to do the Molecule 1 plus fragrances. And so the first time they launched 3, a Mandarin, Patchouli, and Iris. Second time they launched ginger, black tea, and Gaiac. So we've got ginger here. It's so good. Really, really great. So it's very woody and super fresh spicy. And the cool thing is, I've got the Mandarin here as well. You can layer these two, because what it is, ginger complements the Mandarin, and you've got the ISOE Super in both, because it's a woody note that smells of cedar and sandalwood, and you get this more zingy, juicy, citrusy, woody offering. But for me, if you're trying to boost up a ginger fragrance, I think Molecule 1 plus ginger will work. Like, there's the, oh God, what's the name of the brand? I think it's called Ginger Essence. I'm drawing a blank with the name. It's an Estee Lauder brand, and I have a bottle. I decided not to feature it here. But to me, it's like ginger ale. It's like very fizzy. I left it off because it's very weak. I think you can layer this down, like spray Molecule 1 plus ginger, let it dry, then spray the ginger essence on top. And man, it'll be great combo. It'll extend the life of the ginger essence. Plus, it'll make it a bit woody and a bit more zingy, because the ginger essence is fizzy, but it doesn't have a lot of that zing. That's one of the reasons why I left it off on the list here. But Molecule 1 plus ginger is really, really awesome. It's a great smell. If you love ginger, I love ginger. I love eating sushi and ginger afterwards, but man, this is really good. I'm so happy that they're doing these flankers. Really great. So I just spoke about the ginger. Next, I'm going to talk about the Molecule 1 plus Mandarin, and then I'll spray both on top of one another. And the way I'll do it is I'll spray the ginger one first, because it's the stronger. I find ginger to be stronger. It's more of a heart note, whereas the Mandarin is most of the time a top note. So I kind of think of how the fragrance is going to be. You don't have to do it that way. But let's talk about the Mandarin. The Mandarin is also super duper juicy, And along with that, woods. And with the Mandarin, if you have a Mandarin fragrance, let's say, for example, afternoon swim, you want to give it some more depth, layer down the molecule 1 plus Mandarin, let it dry, and spray the afternoon swim on top. So it'll boost up the fragrance, make it a slight bit different, and it'll give it depth, and it'll smell like an awesome scent. I love afternoon swim by itself, by the way, but I've done it with this, and it does intensify it a little bit. I'm not saying this is going to perform miracles. It's not going to like last 2 days or something, but it'll extend it a little bit, I should say. So the Mandarin, as I said, it's super juicy, but the two together is making the juiciness of the Mandarin a bit more zingy. It's great. Really great combo. So if you haven't gotten these are awesome. The last one I bought was the Labdanum one. I think there's another one that just came out, which is a floral note. Is it the... Oh, God. It's a tropical floral note. Plumeria? No, it's the other word for plumeria. I forgot the name right now. Drawing a blank. But that's the latest one that they did. I haven't really sought it out, but I'm going to look for it very soon. Let's move on to the house of Ex Nihilo. It's Blue Talisman. So this is fruity, zingy, and super sexy. And for me, I've mentioned I never really got this fragrance until I got it. Like, I was like, why is everybody going crazy for this? And again, Ex Nihilo, I really love the fragrances. They smell so good, but they are like priced too high for what you get. But the smells themselves are awesome. Really, really awesome. This is very, very sexy. I haven't tried the extrait yet, but I hope to do. But to me, it's got that zing and spice, but also a nice softness about it with some drippy, juicy pear. Really awesome scent. Really great. Again, it grew on me. One that I didn't appreciate at first. Are you guys a fan of Blue Talisman? And what do you think about the extract version? Let me know. Let us know. Add a comment below. Now I've got two fragrances from the house of Frederic Malle. This is Bigarade Concentré. And I bought this at the discounter a year or so ago, and I'm so happy with it. Before, I used to have Cologne Bigarade. I don't know if that's still selling. It was a lighter take on it. I'm so happy I got the Bigarade Concentré. For me, I got the Bigarade or Cologne Bigarade from a friend, and I think it had already was an older bottle, and my bottle had turned. That's why I went straight to the concentrate version. And again, the concentrate is so zingy, so spicy. It's a Jean-Claude Elena creation. I love that. Really, really love that. It smells awesome. Really. It's got woods, it's got spices, and very juicy citruses. Perfect summer scent. And there's definitely a bit more of a masculine side to this fragrance. It reminds me, it's definitely Jean-Claude Elena. Like, it reminds me a little bit of Terre de Hermès. It reminds me a little bit of Declaration. It's whatever he did to those two fragrances. He's pulled elements from them and added, like, perhaps both of them had the orange in there. So he's probably boosted up the orange and toned down the woods. But it's an awesome scent. Really great scent. You got to have it in your collection if you don't know it. And again, all of these fragrances are tagged with the least expensive. So if you're in the market, get them. But the next fragrance is also a Frederic Malle. It's Cologne Indelible, created by Dominique Ropion. And this is also just a great beefed up take on the traditional eau de cologne like 4711 or Neroli Portofino. It's a lot of citruses, a lot of citrus floral notes. It's soapy and clean. It's fresh and invigorating, sparkling, and just a really awesome version of that fragrance. That kind of a fragrance, I should say. There's some green elements in this as well. It's powdery, but I love it. It's so good. So, so good. Perfect zing for summertime. So that's Cologne Indelible. Let me know if you're a fan of it. I think Dominique Ropion is a great perfumer. I'm not, I mean, I don't love everything that he's created, but there are some awesome scents that he's created. I think that's definitely one of them. And he's definitely created a lot of great fragrances for Frederic Malle, Portrait of a Lady being one of them, and Promise being another. He's done a lot. He is such a great perfumer. But again, I don't really love all of the fragrances that he's created, just an FYI. All right, let's move on to the house of Giardini di Toscana. This is Colonia Nobile. I think that's how you say it. They will be at our show, by the way, via Lucky Scent. Lucky Scent is a sponsor and an exhibitor at our show. Lucky Scent, I hear, is the distributor of Giardini di Toscana. And they are bringing Giardini di Toscana and a few other distributed brands and a few of their exclusive brands. So they've got a really great collection of brands they're bringing, some I've never experienced. So if you're curious to find out, go to our website, scentfestsf.com, and find out the brands they're bringing. And you'll be able to sample fragrances from these houses and meet the folks beyond Lucky Scent if you've never met them. But this, to me, it's not Bianco Latte, it's not Bora Bora. It's so different. It's so fresh. To me, it's kind of like taking a fragrance like Cologne Indelible, something that's kind of 4711 like, or Neroli Portofino like, and giving it a bit of a powdery boost. It's also slight bit classic and old school. I feel like there's a little bit of a mossiness in here. So that's why it kind of takes me back to some of the older traditional men's cologne style fragrances, which is why we started calling fragrances for the guys cologne, because of fragrances like this. And in fact, it's called Colonia Nobile. And that's why it's called Cologne Indelible. So that's what they were. That's the kind of fragrances they are. But if you haven't gotten your nose on this and you're a fan, well, I don't know. I like a lot of different styles of fragrances. I love Bianco Latte and Bora Bora, and I also love this. But some people that like fragrances like this might not like fragrances like Bianco Latte. So if you're a fan of fragrances in this style of colognes, aromatic, mossy, powdery, and musky, you should definitely check this out. I think it's pretty solid. And even though I feel like Colonia Nobile and Cologne Indelible are kind of similar in style, they're smelling completely different. They're acting similar, but smelling different, if that makes sense. So that is Giardini di Toscana's Colonia Nobile. Next, we've got Bohemian Lime from the house of Goldfield and Banks. That's awesome, awesome scent. I've grown to enjoy this even more and more. To me, it's giving me Moscow Mule vibes. If you've ever drank any of that, that's what I get with it. It's got a very gingery effect, is what I'm saying. And it's spicy. And I think in a Moscow Mule, do they use ginger? Do they use I think they use ginger or ginger ale in that. So this acts a bit like ginger ale to me. I know it's got that finger lime note. It's super zingy, and the ginger is very zingy to me, and that's why I get zing from this. It's very fresh, it's very citrusy, and super zingy spicy. And I think it has coriander. I think it's the note that's in here that's giving me this effect. But so good. Very, like I always say, it reminds me of Moscow Mule. It's super cooling, fresh, and I'm always envisioning a hot summer day, wanting to be refreshed, walking into this super sexy bar, and it's hot outside, intensely air conditioned inside, and you're ordering this like very refreshing cocktail, and you end up going with a Moscow Mule, and that's what this smells like to me. It's good. It's really, really great. Bohemian Lime from Goldfield and Banks. And speaking of ginger, we've got Ingenious Ginger. Ingenious Ginger, does it remind you of Tygar? Does it? I think this Ingenious Ginger has become the most popular from the House of Goldfield and Banks. I don't know if I get Tygar from it, because this one is super duper custardy creamy, in addition to what I remember Tygar smelling like. I don't get the connection that much, maybe very, very faintly. Maybe there was the idea, but they decided not to do it super close to Tygar. But to me, this is like a ginger dessert almost. It's almost like taking ginger ale, because there's effervescence and zing here, and maybe putting it in a big mug and dropping a couple of scoops of ice cream. And I don't know if that would taste good or not. I've never done that. Most of the time people do that with root beer, but this is the kind of experience I'm getting with Ingenious Ginger. But it is really good. It's really, really great. Major, major zing here. Super duper zing. Yum. That's Ingenious Ginger from the house of Goldfield and Banks. Oh, I need to change my sheet here, my list of fragrances. And then we have one final fragrance from the house of Goldfield and Banks with Sunset Hour. Yeah, this to me has a fruity zing to it. It's also quite airy and effervescent. And I think the fruits are kind of tart. Kwandong or Desert Peach is featured here. But this one also has a light creaminess. I get a peach cocktail, but not like a Bellini as much. There's a creaminess of Bellini here, but there's also an effervescence. So it's almost like you've got, well, maybe because Bellini is made with a champagne and it's kind of effervescent, but it's acting a lot more creamier. But it's very fresh, it's citrusy, it's very airy, breezy, and also zingy. Because there is definitely not like super duper ginger zingy, but there's definitely a zing here, somewhat of a zing. I like a fruity zing. So that's Sunset Hour, third and final Goldfield and Banks fragrance. And up next we've got Guerlain's Cologne du Parfumeur. We're going old school here, but a classic, a good classic. It's an eau de cologne, so you're not going to get the best longevity, but I absolutely love these bottles. Really love how beautiful these bottles are. Really. By the way, at Scentfest SF, we have the Osmotech. They're bringing 25 historic fragrance formulas that you can smell. I think I mentioned at the beginning of the video. One of them is from the Egyptian times. Have you ever smelled an Egyptian fragrance before? Where when the pharaohs lived? Yeah, one of them is from that era. I think they have something from the 2nd century, something from the 1200s or the 1300s. I think we have 1 or 2 Guerlains in the mix as well, classic. But to me, this is very fresh, super citrusy, very clean, very invigorating. Not super long lasting, being honest there, because it is an eau de cologne. It's called Cologne du Parfumeur. But as a smell, it's magic. Really takes me back. I love that fragrance quite a bit. There's like that one, and also the Eau Sauvage, there's history behind it. You can almost smell that history. Because a lot of the modern fragrances, the DNA, they don't have that. But honestly, guys, I just made a boo-boo. I don't know if that's the right word to use. I skipped the fragrance. Well, we're going to go to it right now in between 2 Guerlains. This is Electimus London's Trajan or Trajan. So you've got a very invigorating collection of citruses here, mixed with a Baccarat Rouge-like DNA, a super duper musky ambroxan forward DNA. So in the end, it's a who's who of juicy citruses, very zingy, spicy, super musky as well. If you are a fan of fragrances like Baccarat Rouge and you want to change it up, maybe make it more citrusy, this is how you would do it. And sorry, it's out of order. I don't know how I skipped it, but it kind of blended in with a lot of the back fragrances that I have on the table here. But yeah, I like this one. And it reminds me of Baccarat Rouge for sure, but with the overdose of the citruses. Uh, it's funny. I'm a big fan of Baccarat Rouge, but I was never a fan of it early on. It grew on me, and I still love that smell. I stopped talking about Baccarat Rouge because it's just been overdone. But it's been a while since I smelled it as well. But it just reminded me of it with this fragrance here. This is from the House of Electimus London. It's Trajan or Trahan. Let me know if you're a fan. All right, now back to the regularly scheduled list of fragrances, I should say. Going back to the House of Guerlain, this is Mandarin Basilique. You know, I still have not bought the Forte version of this. And the way I discovered this fragrance, I was on a trip to Spain in the south of southern Spain. In the city of it was Malaga or Marbella. Near the train station, there was a perfume shop, and they were having a really extensive sale on all these Acqua Allegoria fragrances. This was 2019. And they were the 50 ml bottles. It was like 40 euros each or something. And I bought the bergamot and I bought the mandarin. The mandarin is awesome. I love the mandarin. The bergamot's good too. But for me, between the two, I love the way the mandarin smells. In fact, the mandarin reminds me of Afternoon Swim. But just imagine Afternoon Swim having the basil, like an aromatic green basil note, which the Mandarin Basilique does, which is the name, Mandarin and Basilique, basil. And this is such a great scent, and I've been a fan of it for a long time. I love it. It's super cozy and comforting, and also very realistic and juicy mandarin. It's got some zing and spice for sure, but it's a combo of nice, sweet tart, more sweet, a little bit tart, a little astringency there. And I love the way it smells. And I still have not tried the Forte, although I might have tried it in passing. I just don't own it. But which do you guys prefer? The original Mandarin Basilique, or do you like the Forte? Is the Forte worth having? But the original is so good. So good. If you like aromatic notes of basil with, that fruitiness of the citrus of the mandarin, that will satisfy. So good. So good. It is an eau de toilette, so just be warned. It's not the longest lasting fragrance, but you can also get it for really cheap and just spritz away liberally. It will not offend anybody. All right, let's move on to the House of Headspace. We've got Geneivre. I put this in this list, even though it's not ginger or grapefruit. For me, the juniper in this is acting very zingy. Super zingy, spicy. It's so good. If you are a fan of juniper, if you are a fan of gin tonics, you got that here. You've got the juniper, but it's juniper that's been added to your juniper, the fruit that's dried. Sometimes when you go to a bar and order a gin tonic, they'll put in like 4, 5, 6 juniper berries that are dried. So it's a bit more like that because you've got that real potent concentrated flavor of the juniper floating in with the gin that they've used. Maybe it's Hendrix or something in your gin tonic. That's kind of what I get. Because when you're smelling this, there's a little bit of a smokiness. And I think the juniper tree itself, especially when it's, dried, the juniper berries are dried, there's a slight peppery smokiness. And I'm getting that here, but it's a lot of freshness and very, very awesome smelling. Absolutely love the way this fragrance smells. And it gives me a zingy, spicy effect. And that's why I've added it here. It's become my favorite next to the Santal from the line. If you haven't tried Headspace's Geneivre, please do. It's really, really great. It's perfect for warm weather, I think. And it's super zingy. Sorry, I'm getting notifications on my phone. I'm sorry, on my watch. So let's move on to the House of Hermès. It's Concentrated Orange Vert. Again, one of my all-time favorite citrus fragrances. Almost as an all-time favorite like Goutal's Eau d'Adrienne. This was a bit of a latter, well, maybe not that late. I think I discovered this probably 2-3 years after I started wearing Goutal's Eau d'Adrienne. And for me, I love that greenness of this particular fragrance and the woodiness, and the orange is super green. Like it has a green woody characteristic it's citrus, but it doesn't act like super drippy juice, rather more woody texture. And I feel like they're using the leaves of the orange, kind of like the color of the bottle, as you can see. But in the end, it's got astringency, it's got spiciness, it's got some light sweetness, but effervescent and really, really refreshing. It's good. It's a classic. I've moved on from the original in Eau de Toilette. Well, I think it's an Eau de Cologne, what I should say. This version is Eau de Toilette. The original is Eau de Cologne. I have a vintage bottle of the original. It's more like the Eau de Toilette. It's just gotten watered down. But for me, it's all about the concentrate. But it's Eau de Orange Vert is the original, if you want something more of a Eau de Cologne style. But for me, it's one of the best citruses ever made. That's Concentrated Orange Vert. Okay, this next one is a new love, and it smells super fantastic. You've got to get yourself a bottle. In fact, I need to buy another bottle before it runs out because it's so good. I wore it running errands before this video. It smells great. This is Hugo Boss's Vigorous Cologne. Man, it's so good. It's a throwback to classic masculine cologne fragrances that had a mossy base and aromatic touches and woody touches. It smells awesome. Really, really great. Green, mossy, fresh, earthy, aromatic, spicy, but very, very juicy. And there's a major zingy component with this one as well. I don't know if they're using grapefruit, but wow, it's so good. Really, really amazing scent here. One of the best from this line, for me, it's all about the musk. This is number 2, followed by the geranium. It was the other way around. Geranium was number 2 before, but for me now it's all about Vigorous Cologne. I still prefer the musk the most, but this Vigorous Cologne is awesome. If you're a guy, you like cologne style fragrances that kind of go into the mossy aromatic direction, you got to try Vigorous Cologne, guys. It's so good. And it's about 70, 80 bucks. It was in my video yesterday of discounted summer appropriate fragrances. So hopefully you guys took advantage and buy that fragrance. All right, I had to pause there for a minute. I haven't done one of these long form videos in a long time. This is the longest I've shot. It's been an hour shoot so far, and my mouth is getting dry, so I had to pause and drink and put some of the fragrances away. But I'm going to have to break here again and then remove all the fragrances and put the last remaining fragrances. But let's move on to the house of Infiniment Coty with Matin de Jade. So I haven't much experienced this one. I know it's a ginger-focused fragrance, but it also reminds me of tea for some reason. It has a very tea-like presence. It's quite invigorating and fresh and zingy, but there's definitely a softness and a tea-like presence. Because for me, when I smell tea fragrances, there's that kind of soft, almost pillowy kind of smell to them. This one kind of has it, but in the end, it starts ending up being a bit of a, the spiciness of the ginger kind of kicks in. So that's when you get that whole zingy experience. But it's very fresh. It's very powdery as well for me, but it's a kind of a tea-like ginger zing to it. Let me know if you're a fan of this one, Matin de Jade from Infiniment Coty. It's a good one right there. So next, we're going to talk about Issey Miyake's L'Odyssée pour Homme, another classic for the guys. And again, as I said, I did want to feature some classic offerings here for the guys because, these are some of the earlier fragrances I remember wearing that I started noticing that zing character, that zing feature. And this is definitely one of them. For me, the zing has been removed from this. But the first time I wore this, mid-90s, I remember it had such a presence. It was this sharp, but not like metallic, just a sharp kind of intensity to it, and super bracing and cool as well. It's gotten much softer, but for me, the smell is still intact. You can still experience what or remember what the fragrance smelled like, and that's kind of what I like about it. It's also where Jacques Cavalier learned his craft in creating fragrances like this, kind of aquatic, citrusy fragrances, where then he went to Bvlgari Tygar, and even like fragrances for Louis Vuitton, which he does all the fragrances of. So he's, he's perfected it in fragrances like that, and then he's doing those kind of fragrances at Louis Vuitton. Like Imagination is very similar in that line of Bvlgari fragrances. L'Immensité, which I should have probably featured here, I didn't. It's kind of similar to Tygar, but a bit more watery, juicy. But for me, this Issey Miyake l'Odyssée pour Homme is awesome. Super zingy, very, very kind of spicy, grapefruit forward or yuzu forward, aquatic, but not marine. Who's a fan? Definitely one of the best fragrances ever created. Totally takes me back to the mid-90s. All right, next, going to the house of... I did not pull out one fragrance here, it looks like, but that's not the one we need. Next, we're going to the house of JUS. It's Ginger Lees. This, to me, is ginger ale to the max. Super duper ginger ale. Very fresh, effervescent, zingy, spicy, but super, invigorating. I love it. Really, really love it. If you're looking for something not a citrus, this is the one, because it's all, well, it has citruses, but you really are playing with ginger here, but more in the fresh variety. I love that. I like that bitterness, the zing, the spiciness, the unique ginger characteristic there. It adds depth to this very, very fresh fragrance. That's JUS Ginger Lees. Have you tried this? Let us know, add a comment below. I need to pause the video now to go get that other fragrance that's missing. All right, up next, we're going to the house of Jacques Pat. It's Green Water. Who's a fan of Green Water? This is another classic fragrance, but this is the reinterpretation by Cécile Zarokian from 11 years ago. I think this launched in 2015, maybe 2016. But I think she's keeping the classic touches intact here. It's very aromatic. It's very citrusy. It's a different take on something like Eau Sauvage, by the way. It's a great name, Green Water. Reminds me of my dad. But it also kind of reminds me a little bit of Eau Sauvage. It's really great. Gentlemanly, very, very gentlemanly. Green Water by the house of Jacques Fat. Let me know if you're a fan of that. Why do you like it and why do you hate it? Let us know. Add a comment below. Next, going to the house of J-Scent. This is Yuzu. Yes, Yuzu is a popular grapefruit-like citrus. So it's Yuzu. It's grapefruit, pink grapefruit, pomelo, Yuzu. Really love all of those, especially in fragrances. I don't eat them as much as I wear them as fragrance. So this, to me, the peel is in there. But not as... Where's the one that had that oiliness? I put some fragrances... Well, actually, Energizer does have that major oiliness. This doesn't have that super duper oiliness. It's a bit more sweeter and a little gentler as far as the oiliness is concerned. But it's quite good. Very, very good. But it's ginger. For me, the Energizer has a lot more depth. You're really swimming in the grapefruit. Here, there's a subtlety about it, but very realistic once again. I love that. I've forgotten how good this is. Yuzu by J-Scent. Probably their most popular. I think that acts like it could be very, very popular. All right, next, going to the house of Javoy. This is Acqua Memorabilis. Let me know if you're a fan of this one. This is one of the more recent offerings from Javoy. It's very juicy. A lot of these fragrances are juicy and also spicy. You've got aromatics. This one also has slight powdery, musky touches. There's a bit of pepper spice and a little bit of greenness in there. But it's very, very invigorating. You can actually feel how concentrated the citrus oils are in this. I think there might be some ambroxan and things like that in there. At least I'm picking up something like that. Super fresh though. What are your thoughts on Acqua Memorabilis? Really great smell. All right, next, Vetiver Écarlate from the house of L'Artisan Parfumeur. This is grapefruit and tomato leaf and vetiver. I think it's yeah, those are the notes. So for me, grapefruit and vetiver are combined together quite a bit. But in this case, they've also thrown in the tomato. That is such a unique smell. It's super juicy, a little fruity pulpy, and green and bitter like the tomato leaves leaves. And then you've got that earthy, woody grassiness of the vetiver in here. Makes me happy. I love tomato leaves and fragrances. The first time I experienced tomato leaves was in Eau de Campagna from Sisley. That is a Jean-Claude Elena creation from the 70s. And I've been a fan of tomato leaves and fragrances since then. That was the first time I experienced it. And I wanted more. And thankfully, the brands are making utilizing tomato leaves and fragrances because it's a very unique smell. It's a smell I grew up with. I think that's kind of why I'm drawn to it. With my dad planting tomato plants all over the backyard and the garden, and making a jungle out of tomato plants. So yeah, that is a great scent from the house of L'Artisan. It's called Vetiver Écarlate. It's grapefruit, it's tomato leaves, and vetiver. Have you tried it? Let me know. Add a comment below. Next, going to the house of L'Orchestra, this is Electro Limonade. Electro Limonade. Are you guys familiar with this house and this fragrance? So the fragrances are inspired by music, and this is a very electric lemon-forward fragrance. And that electric touch adds that zing and spice to the way the fragrance smells. There's a slight smokiness. It's also not super duper sour and astringent. There's some tartness there, but I think it's perfect for hot days. And the name is really, really awesome. Electro Limonade. Man, I love the flavor of lemonade. And I haven't had any in a long time. But I've never had electric lemonade. Although I think they're referring to the style of music, electro here. But great scent. Let me know if you're familiar with that. So we've got one of my all-time favorite citrus fragrances, and I really think this is the perfect category for it. This is Bergamot 22 by Le Labo. Are you guys a fan? I think one of the best citrus fragrances ever created. What I like about it is it's beautiful, not harsh at all, but very juicy, very tart. They've brought out the flowers or floralcy of the bergamot. They've also thrown in the leaves, so it's got greenness, all in this very invigorating package that's super awesome to wear. My only complaint is it's not the best longevity, but it's one of the best citrus smells ever. I love it. It's so good. Anyway, Bergamot 22. If you could drink this stuff, I would drink it because it's that good. But I won't drink it because I don't drink perfume. I just wear it. and I wear a lot. All right, let's move on to the house of Lumari next. It's Iomak. You guys familiar with Iomak? By the way, Lumari is going to be at Scentfest SF, guys. If you've been wanting to meet the brand, now is your chance. They have a new fragrance called Radanfor, which is awesome, awesome, awesome. I absolutely love it. It's Julian Rascanet creation. So I think Julian will be at our show as well. I don't think he's not coming for the new Lumari fragrance. He's probably going to come for something else, but Radanfor is really, really awesome. You guys got to get your nose on it. This came 2 fragrances before Radanfor. The fragrance, I'm sorry. Yeah, this came 2 fragrances before Radanfor, but one after this is also a Julian Rascanet creation. It's called Amber Malatia. But for me, this Iomak apparently is one of their more popular. I thought Porthole was one of their more popular because I like Porthole a bit more than, well, a lot more than Iomak. But Iomak is very, very zingy, like super, super zingy. It's got this tart astringency about it, but also kind of sharp and metallic cold quality and peppery, powdery touches as well. It's a Christian Provenzano creation. I can see why this is popular. I think it's very, very mass appealing, but with a little bit of edge. I mean, it kind of has those blue characteristics of blue fragrances, but in a little bit of a more niche way, if that makes sense. It's a really great quality offering. It's not my all-time favorite. I prefer Porthole. I prefer Radanfor. I prefer Almeria, but I think Iomak is close up there as well. Let me know if you guys are familiar with this. And again, now's your chance to come and meet the brand Lumari. They've never done a show before, although I think they're doing Essence before our show, but they are coming to the USA, and you'll be able to meet the brand because Porthole is awesome. I really, really love it. And you can smell Porthole if you haven't smelled yet. You can smell the new fragrance, Radanfor. You can smell Iomak. You can also smell Amber Malatia, which came before the latest Radanfor. Amber Malatia and also Radanfor are created by Julian Rascanet. This is Christian Provenzano. Who knows? Maybe Christian Provenzano is going to come too. We shall see. Anyway, let's move on to the next fragrance. It's Afternoon Swim. Yeah, I think a very sexy name for a very awesome scent. I think it's a perfect freshie. It's mandarin orange, the juiciest variety. I mean, when you think of the name, you're thinking it's going to be an aquatic marine scent. It's not. It's what you quench after you have that swim, probably. A nice mandarin orange drink that's going to cool you off. But I love it. It's really, really awesome. It's definitely, it's an easy wearing fragrance. It smells great. There's a certain DNA from this that kind of projects when you're wearing it and when it's really, really hot outside. There is a light gingery effect happening, and I think that's what gives me that zing. Underneath the citruses, I think there's also like ambergris-like notes in there, so there's a little bit of a musky effect. I think it's creating a very, very sexy fragrance. I love that. Super awesome. One of the best from Louis Vuitton. I mean, it's interesting. They got rid of Cactus Garden, which launched together with Afternoon Swim. They got rid of Sunsong, but they brought it back. Who knows? Maybe Cactus Garden comes back. I don't think Cactus Garden was a very popular offering. Maybe it is. I don't know. It was different for them, but maybe they'll bring it back. Who knows? But they never got rid of this one because, you know, it's that good. It's a really, really great freshie from Louis Vuitton. So that's Afternoon Swim from the house of Louis Vuitton. Up next, we're going to the house of Kajal. It's Kajal 3. Yeah, this is another one of those fragrances that heavily inspired by Tygar. But what Kajal does with it is adds a creamy, almost ice creamy layer to the fragrance that gives it a bit more depth. For me, Tygar seems very simplistic. It's not super intense. And even though they came out with the extrait, I didn't care for the extrait as much. It's too leathery for me. I mean, it changes the fragrance too much. And I don't want leather with Tygar. If I'm going to wear leathery, ambery, resinous fragrances, I'm not going to wear Tygar. And this is super, super, it's got a lot of depth. on skin in the heat and humidity is also amazing. It projects like crazy and very sexy smell. Who's a fan of Kajal 3? Do you get the Tygar-like qualities from it? Let me know. So that's Kajal 3. Up next, going to the house of M. Micallef. This is Gin Tonic. It's been a while since I've pulled this out, but again, I was putting together a Summer Zingers video, and I feel like this whole gin tonic-y kind of theme and fragrances does create that. This is very sparkling and effervescent, but also ice cold, like ginger can be. Very aromatic and spicy. Clean, very, very clean. But there is an effervescence here for sure. And definitely underneath it, there's a lot of zing. Not super tart for me. More ice cold, but very aromatic, very spicy, very, invigorating. So that is M. Micallef Gin Tonic. They've done the bottle correct. It's kind of like an ice cube. All right, next, where are we at? Kind of a similar theme, not intentionally. This is Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Gentle Fluidity Silver. It's, to me, like a gin tonic, but for me, this was not a love. I mean, it's weird. I've had fragrances from MFK that I haven't really loved, and it really grows on me, like Baccarat Rouge. This one was so sharp to my nose, like piercingly sharp, cutting. I just couldn't tolerate it. But when you smell it on somebody over and over again, oh my God, it's really good. But to me, it's ice cold, sharp, like frozen, metallic, crisp, but very, very zingy for sure. And on skin with a warm body, and when it projects, because the warm body is going to, make this fragrance project off of you, is when this fragrance comes alive. Because mixed with somebody's own DNA, I mean, their own chemistry, it smells better. I mean, it smells good now. It's super crisp, but off of projecting off of somebody, it's even better smelling. Who's a fan of this? Again, I was not a big fan of this at first. I preferred the gold over the silver. And I think the intention was to marry those two together, layer them together. But I think people wear them individually. And this has really grown on me. So that's Gentle Fluidity Silver from the house of MFK. Now, we've got a fragrance from the house of Maison Margiela. It's Never Ending Summer. And who's a fan of this one? This is kind of like an Aperol Spritz. It's funny. I'm going to tell you guys a little story. And it involves the Aperol Spritz. So in the 90s, I had a friend that loved Campari. And I couldn't stand Campari in the 90s. In the late 2000s, I started drinking Aperol Spritz. But Aperol Spritz became so sweet and I couldn't tolerate it. And in the very early 2010s, I had my first Negroni and I dumped the Aperol Spritz and I went straight to a Negroni because I love the bitterness. Like full circle. I couldn't stand it in the mid to late 90s. Then I was a big fan of Negronis. Now it seems to be heavy. I don't have them all the time, but I can't stand an Aperol Spritz. It's too sweet and just not for me anymore. But this is supposedly inspired by that kind of a drink. It says refreshing bright orange right there. But I think in their advertising campaign, they mention something like a orange spritzer or something, which I think basically is inspired by that. I don't think it smells very much like that. To me, it also kind of smells a little bit like Bigarade Concentré, but in a much lighter presence because Bigarade Concentré is an eau de parfum. This is eau de toilette. But it's very, very fresh, very invigorating, super orange forward, spicy, and also woody. I think it's good. Memory in a Fragrance. Apparently it's Amalfi Coast 2022. I was in the Amalfi Coast in 2018, September. All right. Let's move on to Mancera Intense Cedrat Boisé. You know, I don't have a bottle of the original Cedrat Boisé anymore, but I like this one. It's one of those event to see kind of fragrances, but the Intense has got a lot more depth. Still, you've got that very pulpy, juicy, over the top juicy citruses up top, but you'll definitely notice the thickness, the depth, and this settles to much more woods and leather in the base compared to the original. But I like that concentrated effect of the citruses in this, and it creates a super duper pulpiness. That's really, really good. I don't know why fragrances are smelling so good today in this room. It's not that warm out. Anyway, wow. It's been a long time since I've done a video this long. So maybe my nose needs to be exercising more. That's why everything is smelling so good. All right, let's move on to Mise en Cire with Eau de Gingembre. Very zingy, super duper zingy. Who is a fan of eating ginger, pickled ginger with sushi, like during sushi? I absolutely love ginger. Really, really love it. There was a time I was also enjoying those little ginger lozenges. I was obsessed with ginger for a while. But I know some people that don't like ginger at all. I went to a Chinese restaurant the other day and I was drinking cocktails. And the woman that was sitting at the table ordered that lemon ginger tea, and the waiter that brought it, I could smell it, like so strong. I was like, if I wasn't drinking cocktails, I would have had that because it was so good smelling. Lemon, ginger together, when you're boiling the actual fruit and the spice together, you've got a very concentrated smell. I absolutely love it. I got the craving for it, but obviously I was already drinking cocktails, so I'll have to do it another time. But this, to me, reminds me of that very fresh zing and spice of ginger. Almost like pickled ginger, but more like ginger ale and a little bit of that pickled ginger. I don't know about you guys, when you eat pickled ginger, does it taste a bit soapy to you? I get a little bit of soapy. I get soapy from ginger, and I also get major soapiness from cardamom. Both of them are very fresh spices to me. But when I'm eating the ginger, sometimes after I've eaten sushi, it tastes a bit soapy to me in my mouth. What do you guys think? But if you want ginger ale, but super duper potent ginger ale, Eau de Gingembre from Mise en Cire is awesome. Remember, I also said Gingerlise is kind of ginger ale. This is much fresher, lighter. Whereas here, it's more like a ginger beer, if that makes sense. So it's got more potency. Anyway, that is Mise en Cire Eau de Gingembre. Then we've got Molton Brown's Sunlit, Clementine, and Vetiver in the Eau de Parfum concentration. This launched around the same time as the fragrance, I think, Perseus from Marley. I feel like they're kind of similar ideas, whereas Perseus has grapefruit. I think it's grapefruit. Yeah, it's grapefruit. This is more Mandarin or a Clementine. So in the end, it's a similar idea. Lots of citruses, very juicy, zingy, and then you've got that earthy, woody grassiness of the vetiver here. It's a nice combo. I think they work great together. For me, I think grapefruit works a little bit better than Mandarin, but still, I think this definitely works. It's got freshness up top, invigorating, cooling, refreshing, and then, more depth, woods, kind of spices, earthiness in the base with the vetiver. Nicely done. This is the EDP version. They come in darker bottles. The EDTs are clear bottles, and you've got that nice color up top, and you kind of know it's kind of golden because it's Mandarin. All right, next it's Mugler's cologne. I'm going to pause the video real quick and show you guys what I recently acquired. All right, so we've got Mugler's cologne. This is Fly Away. This is when Mugler, under Claren's group, Remember, Mugler is now under L'Oreal. Under Clarins Group, Mugler rebranded cologne. They called it Come Together. And they created a bunch of different flankers off of that series, like Fly Away, which I'm going to talk about next. But recently I was at my brother's house. This is probably a bit longer than recently, probably earlier this year. And I was going through his collection of fragrances, and he's got a vintage bottle of Mugler cologne. It's a tester. It says Mugler cologne, but I don't think it's the same. The logo is not the same, as you can see up here. This is the previous Mugler, but the terry is removed. So I guess they had already removed his name and they were using Mugler. So this is probably around 2015. So it's not super duper vintage, but it's classic still. I love it. So the story was, I think it's an Alberto Moria creation. I guess Thierry Mugler went to Morocco and there was a soap that smelled that he loved. It was Neroli and Orange Blossom, Petitgrain. And he asked Alberto Morillas to recreate that. And we have Mugler cologne. Long-standing fragrance. It's been around for 25 years. Yeah, launched in 2001. So 25 years. They just brought it back last year or early this year. I can't remember. I haven't seen it anywhere near me. And I haven't seen it on travel. But in 2024, when I was in Greece, at the airport, I saw a lot of Mugler cologne Fly Away on the shelves. But a lot of people were asking, and I mentioned it. But now it's back. Have you guys smelled the new version? How does it smell? It's brought back under L'Oreal. But I love it. It's like I wore Amen for so long when it first came out in 96, 97. Then I switched over to Mugler cologne because I became a big fan of Mugler. Then switched to B-Men because B-Men came out after Mugler cologne. Cologne is a unisex. Amen, B-Men are for men, obviously. And I still love the smell. For a while, I had joined when it first came out in 2001. I had just joined a gym, and it was my gym fragrance. Like I would wear it at the gym, and I would wear it after a shower, after the gym. And I love that cleanness, but it's super zingy, spice. Well, a little spicy, not super spicy, but there's a definite zing about it. Very fresh, refreshing, invigorating, and a great scent, I think. They've done a great job on that one. Next, we've got, Next, we've got Mugler's cologne Fly Away. This is a Sonia Constant fragrance. This is grapefruit and cannabis. I think I have to change the page. Yeah, Mugler Fly Away. We've only got a page left, and it's not a full page. Fly Away to me is a combo of grapefruit and cannabis. They do work together really nicely here. You've got that really bitter kind of camphor-like quality of the cannabis and mixed with like really zingy, bitter, tart grapefruit. Now remember, I am launching a new fragrance at Scentfest SF, and it features cannabis in the notes. Yes. Yeah, there's a new fragrance coming from yours truly, collaboration with another brand. And it does feature cannabis, but it's a gourmand. It's green gourmand, green floral gourmand. But this cannabis does not smell like the cannabis in our fragrance. Our cannabis is a bit more fig leaf-like. This is definitely more camphor-like. But I actually really love this scent. It's become my favorite Mugler cologne flanker. I think it's discontinued, but I made sure that there was stock out there. That's why I featured it here. And there's plenty of stock of the new Mugler cologne or Fly Away. But I love both of those. And the grapefruit's bitterness is just what does it for me with Fly Away. It's so good. Really, really wonderful. So next we've got a fragrance called Akigala Mandarino from the House of New Notes. So a lot of complaints about Akigala wood. I've been mentioning it's not a bad note. It's basically a stripped down patchouli. It's not amber woods. It's not amber woody. It's just, I was at Givaudan last October. I smelled both Akigala wood and Georgie wood, which are proprietary ingredients from Givaudan. I actually preferred the smell of Georgie wood over Akigala wood. Akigala wood is very like it doesn't, there's not much scent there, if at all. I think you have to mix it. But Georgie wood, man, it was so sexy. Here with Akigala Mandarino, there is definitely a reminder of something that Quentin Biche has made. Did he make this fragrance? There's a little bit of Ganymede in there. But we're not smelling the Akigala wood. We're smelling the minerality of something similar to Ganymede from this. But it's super duper citrusy, like a lot of citruses here, mixed with the idea of something that reminds you of Ganymede. So if you like Ganymede, you might try this if you're looking for something that's a bit fresher with a lot more citruses added to it. What do you think? I do get a lot of complaints about Akigala wood. Yeah, I thought it was just something not super distinct, like it didn't really stand out. Like side by side, I much prefer Georgie wood, and Georgie wood is kind of like ISOE super, but much more amped up. It was a very, very sexy woody note or ingredient. But this, again, Akigala Mandarino reminds me of Mandarin orange with Ganymede. But very, very zingy, very spicy, but also it's got all those characteristics of Ganymede in there as well. So next we've got a fragrance from the house of Nikolai, perfumer creator. It's Yuzu. Tiny little bottle. This is a tiny little 30 ml bottle of Yuzu, but a great representation of Yuzu. Super awesome. Super zingy. Oh my God. Very, very fresh and not heavy at all. It's super light. It's an eau de toilette. This is called eau de Yuzu, I should say. That's what it says. But this is an eau de toilette. It can't be an eau de parfum. It acts like an eau de toilette. I know they don't make eau de cologne fragrances. Yeah, this is definitely eau de toilette. Eau de Yuzu, kind of referring to eau de toilette. But it's very, very fresh. Super fresh. What do you guys like? Yuzu, grapefruit, or pomelo? Let me know. I spoke about pomelo in Nectar for commodity. I don't know. I'm kind of partial to pomelo. I used to drink a lot of white wine with a lot of like Thai or Vietnamese food. One of them that I was buying for a while, like 19 years ago, was a Sauvignon Blanc called Pomelo, which had pomelo characteristics. It was so delicious, so awesome. And then I couldn't find it anymore, but it always reminds me of that wine, that Sauvignon Blanc, because it had those kind of pomelo grapefruity qualities as you're drinking it. It's very refreshing, super tart, but easygoing. It's not heavy, which is exactly what you need with some Asian food. But let's move on to One Day next. No, not One Day. We're going to the house of Nichané, this Hesperide Colonisée. This is a fragrance I also featured in a video yesterday of the discounted summer fragrances. If you didn't buy one, it's highly discounted. I'll link to it unless it's sold out. This is the third Colonisée fragrance. It started out with Colonisée, then it was Saffron Colonisée. Now it's Hesperide Colonisée. Very soapy, very clean, very invigorating, super fresh. Some zing and spice thrown in. Tartness, sweetness, all combined into an easygoing, clean, soapy, fresh fragrance. The more I smell it, the more I want to smell it. It's really good. It's different, but kind of in the same family. I think the one that's the most different is the saffron one, because they threw in the saffron. This is called Hesperide Colonisée. So you'll be reminded of the original Colonisée. So that's Hesperide Colonisée from the house of Nichané. I wish they put the name on the bottles. It's not even on the bottom, so I had to write H on the bottom. Okay, next we're going to the house of One Day. It's Jeju or Jeju. So this is a grapefruit zing and also green. Definitely has become a favorite of mine. I think oolong tea is the most popular. Probably Taipei has become very popular. And if you haven't tried One Day's Taipei, it's in a kit that we have. If you haven't tried it, please check it out. This to me is super astringent, very green and juicy, like super, super juicy. The grapefruit is very, very prominent, and I love it. It's pulpy kind of grapefruit. Bitter, sweet, tart. Oh my God, it's good. It's not super duper green. It is a little bit green, but there's a little bit of greenness, but more pulpy, juicy, and a little fruity. But wow, it's so good. Really great. I am just like swimming in a bunch of pulpy grapefruit juice. That's what it's acting like. I love it. You guys a fan of One Day? It's One Day Jeju. It does have the date 1734 written on there too. Let me know if you're a fan of that. Then we've got Marley's Perseus. I spoke about Clementine, Sunlit Clementine and Vetiver, which these two kind of remind me of one another. The idea is more than the smells, although you can pick out some similarities in the smells as well. So this is grapefruit. It's super astringent. There's spices along the way, and of course, lots of woody, earthy, maybe grassy too. This is acting a little bit grassy, but not as much as some other vetiver fragrances. This has more depth. It's a bit more deeper. That's why it's not acting as grassy. It's a bit more substantial in the woody characteristic of the vetiver, but it's very, very invigorating up top. Super duper. Yeah, definitely perfect for this mix of fragrances. Let me know if you're a fan. And I'm not sure if this has become a very popular offering from the House of Marley. What do you guys think? I was thinking I'd put Greenlee in here, but I don't think it's the kind of fragrance. I was looking for the kind of ingredients or notes in the fragrance to feature such kind of fragrances in this mix. But I like this one. I prefer Greenlee more, but I think this is more in line with the genre of fragrances I'm speaking about here today. So that is Perseus from the House of Parfums de Marly. Next, we've got Dusita, Parfums Dusita with Moonlight in Chiang Mai. So this is a lot of grapefruit with a lot of teak wood. There is a little bit of a ambroxan-like effect happening in here, but they say there's no ambroxan. I don't know. Those of you that are sensitive to it, you tell me if there is. I think it acts like it. But also it's quite like a fougere almost as well. It's definitely become one of my favorites. It's also more on the masculine side, but I find it to be super, super sexy. The way the fragrance smells. I love it. It's really, really great. I remember when this came out. The brand does lean a bit feminine, but I think this is definitely more of a masculine offering. And if you like grapefruit, definitely check it because it's got that zing. The characteristic of the grapefruit zing is definitely there, along with the teak wood and other notes. All right, next, one of the most astringent classic fragrances I remember. This is Penhaligon's Blenheim Bouquet. Penhaligon's Blenheim Bouquet. Have you guys tried it? Man, it's super astringent here. It's almost like you're squeezing the most tart citrus fruits, and your kitchen is like swimming in the tart smell of the fruits. Maybe you're making lemonade for summer. That's how it is. It's super duper. But you know what? It does give me it gives me a little bit of the depth of what I smelled with Eau Sauvage. There's that kind of a classic DNA in there. it kind of comes up here as well, just like it did with Eau Sauvage. But this is, to me, compared to Eau Sauvage, it's a lot more astringent. Super, super, super astringent. Like really, really sour. Like imagine making a lemon drop, but no sugar, lots of like really tart lemon. And you're like drinking it and your mouth is like puckering. Like, whoa, this is like, I can't drink this. That's how tart it is. And I find these kind of fragrances super, super awesome when it's extremely hot and humid outside. This is really awesome. It's a classic that I've loved. And I love smelling it. Really do. So this is Blend & Bouquet from Penhaligon's. It is old school, but it's citruses, so it shouldn't turn you off. But maybe it turns off some people. And then I've got a group of 3 fragrances from Paris Monte Carlo. We've got Bergamatto di Calabria first, which I featured yesterday in a video. A highly discounted offering. And we've already spoken about bergamot fragrances. Bergamot is a note used quite a bit in fragrances as a top note. It's like the cure-all for citrus usages in fragrances to freshen things up. I think it's the more balanced. It's not super tart. It's not super sweet. It's also a bit more floral. It complements a lot of these kind of effects in fragrances. So it goes in to be fresh. And this is what basically it is. I like this. It's a bit peppery. I think they've got something peppery in there. I much prefer the Le Labo bergamot fragrance, but I think this is pretty decent quality. It's super fresh, really, really fresh, and a little bit of zing in there as well. Next, it's Cedro di Diamante from Paris Monte Carlo. Cedro is a citrus diamond, so it's ice cold. Yeah, this is more like a limoncello. It's very lemony. But it's super clean, quite zingy, tart, giving me like Eau d'Adrienne vibes. Very much so. It's like almost also like Acqua Viva from Profumum Roma. It's like a lemon drop, basically. Not as tart as the Blend & Bouquet, which was super duper tart. This is more like the tartness level of Eau d'Adrienne. Not as tart as Blend & Bouquet. I kind of like the tartness of the Blend & Bouquet, because I remember I thought Eau d'Adrienne was a lot more tart, a lot more astringent. But maybe it never used to be, and I always thought of it that way. But I do prefer the tartness and the astringency of Blend & Bouquet over Cedro di Diamante and the Eau d'Adrienne. And then last but not least, in the Paris Monte Carlo collection of fragrances is Mandarino di Sicilia. Mandarin orange focused fragrances. Who's a fan? So Mandarin orange is not tart. It's kind of sweet, a little tartness. It's a straightforward citrus focused fragrance with a little bit of a coziness added there. Light astringency, a little bit of the depth and zing in there as well, but very comforting and very, very refreshing. I can't remember now, but there used to be a juice brand that I used to buy Mandarin orange juice from every so often, and it was always so delicious. So delicious. I can't remember. I don't drink juice anymore because I just don't need the extra calories. But I remember that juice, Mandarin orange juice. What the heck was the name? It was always in the refrigerator, and it was fresh, almost like freshly squeezed kind of orange juice. Mandarin orange juice, but it reminds me of that. But it's really nice. It's really pleasant. All right, so that is Mandarino di Sicilia. Who's a fan? Up next, we've got Perroy Tangerine Pearl. Who's discovered the Perroy fragrances? Let me know. Add a comment below. My favorite is Mahogany Sun, but I also like Tangerine Pearl, and I also like the Vanilla Wood one. I can't remember the name right now. This, to me, is it's almost like shampoo. It gives me like there's a creamy texture about it, but also a tart fruitiness. So giving me a little bit of the effect of shampoo, which is fun because I like the smell of shampoo. Sometimes I kind of want to wear it. Some shampoos are kind of unique in the smell. But there's a lot of amber woods in here, but it's a fun fragrance. It's playful, creamy, and also citrusy tart. But there's definitely a major zing here. Who's a fan of Perroy Tangerine Pearl? Let me know. Add a comment below. I think this would be my third favorite of the collection. Mahogany Sun's my favorite. Really awesome smell. Still fun and playful. A bit young. Then the vanilla, which is a woody vanilla. And then there's Tangerine Pearl. And I might also like Ivory Sky. I can't remember. But what do you think of this? A very colorful bottle. It's from the House of Perroy. That is Tangerine Pearl. Then we've got Tangerine Boy from Fleur. It's a good one. This is really super awesome. I love the tartness, the juiciness. It's like, this actually reminds me a little bit more of the mandarin orange juice that I was remember drinking. This actually also smells like you've got the peel of the mandarin orange or the tangerine in there. You've got the peel in there for sure. Because I love the peel. The way the skin smells in the citrus fruits, they've definitely captured it here. Whereas in the Paris Monte Carlo, I didn't get it. But I certainly get it from Tangerine Boy. And it smells quite authentic. I love that about it. Yum. Really, really yum. Probably one of my favorites. I've introduced this to a friend and they love it. They really, really love it. I don't really get the name, unfortunately, Tangerine Boy, but I'll go with it because it smells really fantastic for a citrus. What do you guys think? Are you a fan of Tangerine Boy by Fleur? Do add a comment below. All right, guys, we're almost done with this video. I've got 10 more fragrances to talk to you guys about. We're currently in the P section of the video. These are our fragrance brands starting with the letter P. And we're going to the House of Profumum Roma next. It's Acqua Viva. Yes, I spoke to you about Eau d'Adrienne by Annick Goutal. I spoke to you about Blenheim Bouquet from the House of Paris Monte Carlo. And then now we've got Profumum Roma's Acqua Viva. First Profumum Roma I ever bought. And only because I've heard it was a much more potent version of Annick Goutal's Eau d'Adrienne. It is, but I'm also feeling like this is also getting a little bit light to me. It doesn't have that astringency and tartness of the Blenheim Bouquet, but it's still kind of like a lemon drop, a lemon lozenge, limoncello, I should say. Lemon drop, limoncello. Giving me those kind of vibes, but it's quite woody and spicy. And it's got a lot of lemons in here. So there's an astringency. It's super fresh. It's very zingy and perfect for summer wear, I think. I mean, I'm kind of partial to Eau d'Adrienne because I kind of grew up with it, I should say. Late 90s, since then. But if you want something a bit more potent, go with the Acqua Viva from Profumum Roma. If you want something a bit more astringent, very tart and sour, go with the Blenheim Bouquet because it's got a lot more tartness to it. But I think all will work. But I feel like the tart really works well with heat. Heat, humidity, cuts through that heat and cools you off. And that's kind of what we want with some of these fragrances. But definitely it's got the zing. It's definitely got the zing and spice. Next, we're going to the House of Ralph Lauren. It's Polo Cologne Intense. This is a grapefruit dominant, I guess, redoing of the original Polo Green. But this is called Polo Cologne. And I'm sorry, Polo Cologne Intense. But it smells nothing like the original Polo Green. This is much more pulpy, grapefruity. And it's got a major astringency, but not as super duper tart. There's an astringent bitterness, but also a pulpy freshness there as well. This, to me, I think it's might be eau de toilette. I think it's an eau de toilette. It's not an eau de cologne. It's just called Polo Cologne Intense. I think it's a good scent for summer. It smells nothing like the original, I think. It's for modern wear. And if you like uncomplicated fragrances, this will satisfy. Especially if you like citruses. But there's definitely a pulpy effect happening here, for sure. Definitely the citrus is coming, the grapefruit is coming off very pulpy. All right, next we go into the house of Sensatio Paris. It's Combava wood. So this is the second Combava focused fragrance. First one was from Affinessence, Combava Cedrat. They write Combava, this is Combava. I think it's the same thing, it's Kefir Lime. Here, it's very invigorating. It's like a lot of different kinds of citruses here, but it almost has like a creamy backbone. So it's super cozy and smooth. It's a bit floral as well, but very invigorating, super fresh. and it's like a cornucopia of different citruses, like a citrus juice. And you've not only got oranges, you've got other citruses mixed together to make like a citrus cocktail or something. But you gotta not forget that it definitely has like, what do you call it? Creaminess. There's like a smooth creaminess, and I think we've got like something sandalwoody in the mix here. So that is from Sensatio Paris, Combava wood. Up next, we're going to the house of Sospiro. This is Vibrato. Yes, we cannot forget Vibrato. Vibrato is so awesome. Again, inspired by Tygar, but much more potent. I think this is the most popular from this house. Everybody seems to love it. Well, not everybody, but most everybody. And I think it's very, very sexy. In fact, it's part of our Scent Club kit. And if you're a fan of this, we have some of the kit that's left from this for this fragrance. I'll tag it here, but I'll also tag the actual fragrance. What I like about this, unlike the Kajal 3, Kajal 3 is super powdery, but there's an underlying creaminess. Vibrato is a bit more in line with how Tygar is, but it has more depth. So complexity and much longer lasting. And Sospiro fragrances are eau de parfum, but they last really, really great. Like they're super potent, which is what I like. I mean, they probably give us more concentration than an eau de parfum, because I think there's other eau de parfum fragrances that don't last as long as how Sospiro fragrances do. I still prefer Dolce Melodia as my favorite in the Sospiro catalog, but Vibrato has definitely come really, really close to being number one. But I still prefer Dolce Melodia because I find Dolce Melodia to be a bit more original. This obviously reminds me of Tygar, but I love the way it smells. So Sospiro Vibrato. Even the name is kind of a little bit like Tygar. Tygar Vibrato. Well, not quite, but somewhat. All right, next going to the house of the Harmonist, we've got Yin Transformation. Who's a fan of this line and this fragrance? So the brand launched around 2018, or was it? Yeah, early 2018. There was a store that they opened up in LA. I don't think it's there anymore. I actually shot a video there. You can go catch the video. This definitely was one of my favorites from the house. It's got a bit of zing and spice in there. It's a bit aquatic, very floral, citrusy, and super duper fresh. It's got a very clean smell, but it's also quite potent for a freshie. I think it's a parfum concentration. Yep. It's weird. My camera, it always does this. It stops focusing after I've paused the video a couple times as it's shooting. Gotta just turn off next time and have little videos. But it's great. It's very, very clean and soapy and very, very fresh, but super potent, very long lasting. I remember when Barney's was selling this. I liked the brand when I first, discovered it, but I think this was the one that really won me over with the brand. Now they have two, the Flora Nebula and the Oud are both really great. Those have become my favorites, but this is definitely one of the more invigorating, zingy ones. Harmonist, Yin Transformation. And next we've got Thomas Cosmala's number 8 Tonic Vert. Not sure why that's happening. It's not focusing. Anyway, Tonic Vert. This is like a tonic, green tonic. So this is Thomas Cosmala. If you're familiar with the brand, you're probably familiar with number 4 Après l'Amour. Just imagine a little bit of that DNA here with a lot of green freshness, super zingy freshness. Green, fresh, spicy, citrusy, long lasting. There's musky base, amber woody base in the base of this fragrance. But definitely it has that kind of zesty kind of green zinginess. It's really good. I almost put the Tonic Blanc, but to me it didn't give the effect of the Tonic Vert's zing and spice and zestiness. But this is quite zesty here. It smells really delicious, actually. So that is number 8 Tonic Vert from Thomas Cosmala. And then we've got a new one here from the house of Tom Ford. It's Taormina Orange. Are you a fan of Taormina Orange? This is an Anne Flippo creation. I do like her creations. Super soapy, clean, lots of citruses, loads of citruses. Definitely has a zingy, soapy touch. This is for the first time. It's giving me Mugler Cologne vibes. I am not sure why. Do you guys get that? Even better now because it is giving me Mugler Cologne vibes. I love that. Definitely totally different than Neroli Portofino. But wow, that's going home with me today. I love that. It'll be great for the Memorial Day weekend. Let me know your thoughts. Taormina Orange. Who's a fan? Okay, next we're going to the house of Whittian with Rose Arabia Ginger. Yet another one that has Tygar qualities. A little different, a little smoother, a little creamier, softer, I should say. But it's got those vibes, and I'm all over it. Remember earlier I said I love Energizer. To me, it's more authentically ginger than Tygar and any of those kind of inspired fragrances. But don't get me wrong, I love that DNA and I'm obsessed with it. Even though to me, Energizer is the more authentic ginger. I'm sorry, no, not ginger. Grapefruit. See, Tygar to me comes off gingery. That's why I just said ginger. Because this is quite grapefruit gingery. But it's quite good. It's not as powdery, as intense and choking like number 3. But it's kind of somewhere in between Tygar and Vibrato here with the Whittian. Have you guys tried this? Let me know. Add a comment below. All right, 2 more fragrances to go, guys. The next one is from the house of Xerjoff. We've got Torino21. You can't leave that off for something zingy, zesty, citrusy. aromatic spicy. It's really good, right? Still my favorite of the bunch. But you know what? Recently a friend was wearing this when it was cold. It didn't smell good on him. But in the heat, this is shining beautifully. On me, it turns into lemon mint tea. This has basil. I think it has a few other aromatic notes, but a lot of mint and lemon. And whenever I wear it, it reminds me of my grandmother who used to drink lemon mint tea. It's a good one though. But I don't know what it was. This time, a friend of mine was wearing it when it was cold. It just wasn't smelling good. I think I think personally, it smells better when it's warm. But today it's not super hot. It still smells great in this studio. Yeah, one of the best from the house of Xerjoff Torino21. And last but not least, guys, we're going to the house of Zoologist Perfumes with Macaque Yuzu Edition. Zoologist Perfumes will be at Scentfest, guys, so you've got to come and meet them. They've never done a show in the States, so if you've been wanting to meet Victor from Zoologist Perfumes, you've got to get to the show. He'll be at the show 3 days straight. All the brands that are exhibiting will be at the show 3 days, except for the Discovery Zone, which we'll mention later, but we haven't really clarified anything like that. Everyone that's booked right now will be there all 3 days. I think we're trying something where we're going to bring in a few brands that are very small into a Discovery Zone setting that will come one day of the 3 days, but we haven't really done that yet. But for now, all the brands, over 100 brands, will be there all 3 days, including Zoologist Perfumes. If you want to meet them, you can come. But this to me is super yuzu'd, but also a bit like, just imagine Comme des Garçons Hinoki Huile by Aesop with a lot of yuzu. Does that make sense? So it's got a little bit of incensey smoke. It's got a little bit of green woody aromatic touch and a lot of sparkling, effervescent, zingy, zesty yuzu. It's a good one from Zoologist Perfumes. What do you guys think? Macaque? And that's it. That's the video for you guys. 76 fragrances. I think that's the correct count. I initially had 75, which I had counted, but I added one that I had forgotten, which was Tangerine Boy. So it's here. I think that makes a total of 76 fragrances. I thought the video will be a bit longer than 2 hours, because usually 100 fragrances is 3 hours approximately, but this is about 76 fragrances. So we've ended up with around 2 hours and 10 minutes. But let me know your thoughts on the fragrances we discussed today. Do you enjoy these kind of fragrances? Let me know. Add a comment below. And if I'm missing something that probably fits in this video, do let me know what that is as well. Do add a comment below. And let me know if you've gotten Mugler Cologne from Terramina Orange. I don't know why it's reminding me of Mugler Cologne. I don't know if it's because I smelled it today and it's like the smell of Mugler Cologne is in my nose and I remembered it, but it's reminding me of Mugler Cologne today, which kind of surprises me because I didn't get that before. And now I really love it even more. But let me know your thoughts on these fragrances. Do add a comment below. What's missing? What do you like? What do you hate? What have you been wanting to get? What have you been trying to sell because you have it and you don't wear it anymore? Do add those comments. Put a comment so we can find out. And also, just to reiterate, please don't forget to register for Scentfest SF. We've got a lot of great surprises that are going to happen. And I don't want you guys to miss out on the inaugural edition of Scentfest SF, which should be a yearly thing going forward. It's an amazing show, and it'll be an awesome week here in San Francisco, Northern California, for all the different fragrance-related events. And that's it, guys. One last thing. I will tag all of these, so if you're in the market for any of these, you can buy them as much as I can. Like, I've never seen Celine taggable, so I won't, but most of the fragrances I should be able to tag at least one form or another. So if you're in the market, it's all chapter tagged. So if I say something about a fragrance at that particular timestamp, then that product should appear. There's a button at the bottom on the left side. Click that and it opens up all the products and all the retailers it's tagged to through YouTube Shopping. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Please like the video. Please share it. Subscribe to the channel. Click that bell icon so you'll be notified for future videos. Don't forget to subscribe to also 2 other channels. The Scentfest SF channel, which is tagged in the info box, and also my Shorts channel, because I will be posting more Shorts videos in the coming weeks and months and the rest of the year on the Shorts channel. Here, going back to long form videos as much as I can. And once the show is done at the end of June, after I take a little bit of a break, I'll get back to doing 3-hour plus deep dive videos. Anyway, guys, see you later. Bye-bye.